it wasn't really like some of the things that he did you disagreed with. And so, I kind of wonder if that, who's correct there in that exchange. But also, is Saiyan kind of feeling the pressure a little bit? Like, let's say theoretically you're correct and that Saiyan's kind of being a little shaky with his play, a little inconsistent or missing some things. Is that because he's recognizing that he actually does have a significant chance of being relegated at this point? And then Nalguidan's side, a player that has actually at times overcome pressure and has cracked to pressure. A player that's also very emotional and sometimes, isn't afraid to display that. And I want to see how this series is going to shape up with those things in mind. So let's go into the first game here. Demon Hunter Mirror. Pretty solid opening hand on Saiyan's side here. Nalguidan, he's got the Spirit Jailer and the Soul Shear, but he wants something a little bit smoother in between.
Yeah, this matchup is one we've seen a couple times today. Not necessarily one of my favorite mirror matchups, but one of the things that is appealing about it is just that it's super explosive and can come down to like just these small micro decisions of how much damage you decide to push, which can be fun at some stages. But wrestling for early board control is phase 1. Finding AoEs to solidify board control is phase 2, and then just ignoring everything else and straight up pushing damage is phase 3. And then who can find like the healing? Aldraki Wardblades ends up being a big card in that one. The possibility of drawing soul fragments can change breakpoints ever so slightly. Spirit Jailers, I don't like to touch them very much in the early game. That's a lot of damage to sink into a Spirit Jailer.
Yeah, I agree. They tend to be pretty awkward in terms of how you want to end up using them. So you want to sweep it up, but you also don't want to take too much damage. Very similar to, we made the comparison earlier to mid-range Hunter mirrors. Back when, Hunters like to play like Dire Mole. It's just like a 1-3 beast. You're like, I really don't want to swing my Eagle Horn Bone into that thing. Same concept. You don't really feel like you want to swing into it, but if you don't acknowledge it, it'll rack up damage over time. That'll be extremely significant and potentially game-losing if you don't take it seriously.
Oh, man.
I think that this is an opportunity to equip the weapon and not swing for Nalguidan. Setting up that weapon preemptively is actually a very powerful move, just because it gives you a ton of opportunities, or rather flexibility of how you want to utilize the weapon swings.
Yeah, Saiyan not really incentivized to do much here, though. And Nalguidan's shown that he's not going to be super proactive. He sunk damage into his 1-3, then just equipped a weapon and didn't attack. He's definitely winning on the resource battle here.
Right.
And not even that far behind in the health battle. And now can account for an Aldraki Warblades. Aldraki Warblades coming out early is honestly, sometimes you like seeing that because it means you don't necessarily have to worry about too much of that just straight up burst healing in the later stages of the game. You can kind of reasonably account for how much healing they're going to be able to put out with it. So Saiyan's got to be feeling pretty comfortable about this situation. Doesn't mean it's easy because, finding ways to push this damage and finding ways to force Nalguidan to kind of have to expend his resources inefficiently is still difficult. And I like Saiyan just equipping this and, not attacking. He's got resource battle. Until Nalguidan makes a meaningful push, there's no reason for Saiyan to push damage in because he'll just heal it back up with Aldraki Warblades. He wants to go for a burst or he wants to use his cards to pull resources out of Nalguidan's hand because card for card, Saiyan knows that he just hasn't beat.
Right. That makes sense. And right now, Saiyan... Okay. Do you want to use that now? Like, we talked about this before earlier, where like the Skull Gul'dan might not be something that you feel like you can actually play. Only because it just takes so much mana. Like, you are behind on tempo. So Saiyan could instead simply choose to be aggressive here.
Demons?
I actually don't mind a Soul Shard Lapidarian punch in the face. I think that might look pretty unusual, but like Saiyan's game plan is very or his hand is telling him to be aggressive, and he doesn't really have like a good way to play reactive because he doesn't have the Adraki Warblades. Adraki Warblades let you play defensive, so you can go for like Blade Dance swings.
I think I like.
Oh wow.
He had a split decision there. That one's really tough.
Super tough.
Honestly,
like
I probably would have just ripped the skull. Yeah, if you find one damage, which is like Twin Slice, Free Soul Shear, Chaos Strike from Skull, that turn becomes easy. You take damage, but you're likely finding resources to heal you back up. The second play that I thought about was coin Hero Power, attack the Soul Shard Lapidary, Gladebound the face. Then you have a 6/4, you're behind on health, but your opponent has to deal with this 6/4, and it doesn't hand a free skull turn over to them, which is like the biggest thing, right? Because this play didn't develop anything. It pushed some damage, but pushing damage at this stage is not... I mean, it's relevant, but pushing damage while developing is way more relevant when your opponent has an Aldraki Warblades equipped because it forces them to do two things. Where Nalguidan, after seeing that attack to face, is like, okay, I'm not worried about anything. I'm still at 23. I have Aldraki Warblades equipped. I can do anything I want this turn. And that's what I don't like about the play from Saiyan, is that it just let Nalguidan do whatever he wanted and not have to worry about any repercussions.
That's fair.
Such a beauty.
Yeah, that's totally fair to say. But now he's taking the proactive stance because Nalguidan doesn't actually have too many things to be proactive. And I think that for Nalguidan, he has to react and try and stabilize his health total. Picks up a second Gladebound death, doesn't really need that right now. How many soul fragments did you say Nalguidan has?
In Nalguidan's deck, he has
Just
3 soul fragments.
3. Okay, so that's actually good because then he can clear the board and present a lot of damage.
Yeah, and without Skull played, Nalguidan knows that 14 is safe. Because maximum damage with no Skull played, with 8 mana total available, is 11.
Right.
I grow impatient.
So, and he's going to go for now that he's taken control of the board, the next turn he can go for a big swing with Twin Slice, Second Slice, Blade Dance, some combination thereof. And also use that as just net healing. So.
I think Saiyan's trying to figure out a very clean 2-turn lethal opportunity, but it gets so messy with the Adraki Warblade. I don't think you can count that at all. I think you have to take this seriously, and now we actually do enter the part of the game where I think that's entirely reasonable to go for a Skull Gul'dan setup. So it looks like that is indeed what he's going to do, and set up this Kayn Sun Fury. Understanding that it's likely to get cleared off. If he can't, he's just going to play the Gladebound Depth. What becomes awkward is that the remaining cards in his hand are so expensive that he can only play 1 guaranteed next turn.
Yeah. So second slice, Blade Dance, Gladebound Adept. Again, puts you out of range of any possible lethals, presents a threat on board, pushes enough damage for you to set up a 2-turn lethal.
Yeah, this is definitely a situation where I think justsaiyan just has to hope that there's not enough damage on Nalguidan's side.
There is.
There is. Like, so this is one of those things where, like, if you're struggling in the matchup, because you're falling behind, that health total that can bounce you back in the Draki Warblade is huge. And game number 1 goes to Nalguidan, saying on a 4-game losing streak going back to yesterday, he was up 2-0, and then a reverse sweep came out for Bloodyface to keep Bloodyface in GM. Now Saiyan, once again, a little bit off on the wrong foot here, but you know, he has lost consecutively going back to yesterday, as the Nalguidan does take that Demon Hunter mirror victory. So that does lead us, TJ, to our final break of today. We're going to take a few minutes and relax a little bit. And when we come back, we're going to have the conclusion of the series and find out who gets to stay in Grandmasters and who has to play tomorrow.
Hearthstone Grandmasters is brought to you by T-Mobile. Switch today and rank up to America's largest 5G network. T-Mobile.
What useless facts do I know? Oh man, I have plethoras of useless facts.
Useless facts.
I know pi to the 50th digit.
To the 50th digit?
Yeah. Well, probably more than that, actually.
We're in Texas right now. The Texas state motto is friendship. That's a useless fact.
3.14159265358979323.
Maybe it's not a useless fact, but I know how to like cut almost every single fruit.
4626433832795002.
Well, there's no correct answer to that. If I give you a useless fact, it would then be useful for this interview.
Do you know a fact off the top of your head?
Okay. Jaguars have a particularly powerful bite force, and what they will often do is crush the skulls of their victims. They will just bite right through the skull, and boom, lights out.
884197169399375105. It's like 60 digits, I think, or something.
That's more than impressive. Welcome back, everybody, to the final matches for today, as we have Nalguidan versus Just Saiyan in the last series. Determine which of these two gets to stay in Grandmasters. This is the relegation bracket, and we'll find out who gets to have the last laugh for today. Game number 1, the Demon Hunter Mirror went to Nalguidan's side as we go into game number 2. Very consistent tempo lineups all throughout the board, head to toe. Tempo Mage, Secret Rogue, Soul Demon Hunter, some kind of warrior, whether Pain or Bomb Warrior. Now it's going to Tempo Mage for game number 2 here, TJ.
Yep, I feel like this is one of the more consistent decks, at least from what we've seen throughout the last few days. And Nalguidan playing, I mean, the deck is almost set in stone at this point as to what tech choices are, but sometimes players will opt to include a Firebrand over, one of the other early game tech inclusions to really fight for tempo slightly more. But gameplay is still nearly exactly the same for anything, despite any of the additional cards. So being on coin 2, good for this matchup. It's not a particularly great matchup for Tempo Mage. Well, you've seen this enough today. You've heard my spiel enough today. It's getting closer. The mages, they're adapting. The demon hunters, they're not adapting because they have nothing to adapt.
Yeah, their plan is pretty straightforward. Get them. As fast as you can, as best as you can.
Yep. That's about it. Ooh. Nice pickup off the top.
One drop on one. It's important. Now, Saiyan has the opportunity to go for Mana Feeder Panthera, but it's just not really that kind of matchup that he wants to do that for.
Yeah. With this hand, I think he wants the additional resource. Additional card draw. Makes a lot of sense. Nalguidan's just continue to curve out, though. Got multiple options moving forward. He can commit to Shenvala, or he could try and hold on to resources for Mana Cyclone, or he could do a little bit of both, right? He can play the Shenvala. If it gets removed, then still have pop-off turn available with Shenvala. I'm curious what the move is for Nalguidan, because this hand can go in a couple different directions.
Yeah, no Sorcerer's Apprentice unfortunately makes it a lot messier and a lot more expensive and too balanced.
Oh, it says explode.
To have a lot more power. Right? Like it's a lot of these cards have been designed in mind with the idea of playing it at normal cost, but Sorcerer's Apprentice, of course, pushes that boundary a lot. And Saiyan not going to be discouraged. He knows where the place is.
Does he?
He should know where the place is.
All right, still got time to head to the place. Just making sure that he thinks about where, exactly how fast he wants to get to the place.
Yes.
Oh. Yeah, do you smell that?
I do. Smells
like an
like 5/5s.
I thought it said it. I was about to say it smells like an OTK. This deck used, once upon a time, put Mizaki in it. Just in
That's
the deck.
true.
It was a little bit different constructed, but, just imagine you play Mizaki, then go off as a Sorcerer Apprentice turn. How much damage those arcade missiles do? A lot. That's the answer to that question.
Right.
Shatter Mystic clears up a good portion of this, and actually with the Soul Share, it actually cleans up all of it. Oh, nice little diffusal of the situation. I'm just saying. Hasn't pushed any damage, but there's plenty of time for that. The damage starts to ramp up as you get to the mid game. In the game, it's about not getting snowballed out of the game by the early game board presence. So I do like how Saiyan's kind of been pacing himself with this one.
Yeah, this does seem like a situation where Saiyan's just kind of making sure to pace out his threats. He doesn't want to overextend into how Nalguidan's going to be able to swing the board, because he recognizes that Mage, part of what makes it difficult in this matchup for Mage is the threat of damage as opposed to actually dealing that damage at times, which is always interesting to me. And now Saiyan just ends up setting up a pretty reasonable board, clearing off stuff, pushing that damage. This is exactly what Mage doesn't want to see. You hate it.
Yeah, there's really just no follow-up or no precursor. I don't know what the word is. What's the antonym of follow-up?
Well, there's no disruption. I don't know. Because follow-up implies that you can consecutively string it together, and disruption implies that you can stop that. I don't know, but either way,
No preface, no introduction, no foreword, no prologue to the
Googled a
Mana
bunch of
Cyclone.
things.
I googled the antonym for follow-up.
Of course,
That's what it gives me. Forward, introduction, preface, or prologue. None of those things for the Mana Cyclones. Since it's not, you're not following up on it. You need something to be able to juice it up. There's no juice.
Right.
Let's just—that's the antonym. There ain't no juice for the Cyclones.
Can't get no juice. Nalguidan finds the Frostbolt. Does he want to use it here? Does he want to save it? Saving Frostbolt might be really valuable, but it's also stopping 3 damage. Arcane Intellect says, you know what? Maybe I just got to accept that maybe he kills me this turn. Unlikely.
Three, 4, 5, 6, 8. It's 12 damage.
12 damage. I think I like using the Skull of Gul'dan here, but
I grow impatient.
it does require you to do some really awkward things like consume magic, I guess, the opponent's Mana Cyclone. I think the reason why I like the Skull of Gul'dan is because it gives you options to kill your opponent from hand if they ever stumble. But the Gleedbound is just so much pressure right now. I guess I'm just feeling really pessimistic about my chances of killing with anything on board, and I feel like I have to kill from hand.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Like holding on to Gleedbound up to like push through potential taunt. And getting the skull out of the way, your opponent just had a setup turn, so you can also now have a setup turn because you're much further ahead than they are.
Right.
True mastery takes dedication.
Oh, it says explode!
Frostbolt, though, that can sometimes be an X factor. Frostbolt defreeze.
Frostbolt is pretty nasty to stop Saiyan, but it's only for 1 turn. That's like the big problem. Nalguidan was not able to Frostbolt and play the Water Elemental because he wanted to address the board state. And so now, from Saiyan's perspective, he can totally just play kind of defensive. He also has Penflinger combinations. So he can Penflinger, Mana Burn, Penflinger. Still has this free Mana Feeder Panthera, by the way. Can totally just hero power and play it.
Wasn't me!
Drawing, of course, in the middle of the turn probably wouldn't change much of the play. Wow. I wonder if Saiyan just wants to clear off this board now. Can if he uses all the cards that are playable.
Yeah. Is there a reason to? Conjurer's calling purposes, maybe?
Yeah, just like destroying like ways for Nalguidan to find outs. Like having more spell damage on the board means that he has more cards to draw, and that he can have other targets to do things too, like Conjurer's Calling. I like where his head's at. Nalguidan has a Hail Mary attempt. I don't know what 4 mana that you can get to pull him out of the situation. Frost Nova helps.
Bolt again.
Yeah, it's pretty much just Frost Nova, or sorry, Frostbolt. And I think that's
Even
going to
then,
do it
he wouldn't
here.
be able to deal with the board, right? So he died to the Pen Flinger plus the damage on board. He can hope that there's not a single point of damage in hand or a single spell. That might be impossible.
Right. That sounds very unlikely.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's impossible with the way that deck is constructed. Not have a single spell or point of damage in hand when you can attack with the face. That's rough, but that's a lot of times how the matchup goes, right? Well navigated by Saiyan, taking it slow early, making sure to not let Nalguidan get a chance to run away with any sort of board lead, and then pushing damage when it's meaningful in the mid game when Tempo Mage has those dead turns, which are most of the time inevitable. Sometimes there's those godlike Tempo Mage hands that just keep having refills after refills after refills, but even with the Frostbolt, which can sometimes be a difference maker in that particular matchup, Nalguidan still got crushed, which ties up the series 1-1.
Yep, that's right. So now we have the Rogue Mage versus the Rogue Mage. There's a chance that we have mirrors all the way down up until, is it the Rogue getting the win over the Mage with the secret package? Or is the Mage able to try to get things online finally? Mage has been struggling a little bit against Demon Hunter, but doesn't really struggle too much against Rogue, it feels like, at the moment, unless Rogue's able to come up with a bunch of shenanigans.
Well, this is the tech that I've been interested in. It is the Flick Skyship, which I do think gives you a little bit more game against the Mage, because it means that a Mana Giant early, as long as you have the Flick Skyship, won't completely blow you out of the game. It means the Mage has to really think about when they're playing their Mana Giants, because if they just leave it vulnerable to try and set up for a Conjurer's Calling, it could be vulnerable to the Flick, and then it shuts off both Mana Giants for the rest of the game. There's a lot that goes into it, and from what I've seen of it in other regions, we haven't seen too much of it in the Americas. It does seem to sometimes be that little push that the Rogue needs to kind of bring it over into maybe even favorable against Mage, but not going to see that yet. Going to go to a Rogue Mirror to start things off.
Whew. Rogue Mirrors. Rogue Mirrors definitely get real wonky at times.
They can be. Sometimes they can be pretty simple and straightforward. One player has a big question, the other player doesn't answer it, then the game ends. I feel like that happens less and less lately.
Right.
But still happens from time to time. Those are the types of games that you don't like to see. Let's see the crazy
a really
back and
awkward
forth
game
ones.
earlier today with Monsanto. Wow. Whoa, okay. Interesting stuff here. So we have Ysera Unleashed, one of the highest power level cards in the entire game, just in terms of what it can do by itself.
Okay.
I like it.
Yeah, I mean, that is, like you said, the highest potential power of any card. Also, just kind of the biggest body out of the bunch there.
How much is this worth
But
to you?
most expensive too. So it's got a long way before that can do anything. The one benefit of it is that it's going to consistently activate the vendettas and underbelly fences for quite some time until 9 mana, and saying you can put that in his back pocket and not have to worry about what cards to hold on to because they're activating his vendetta. And probably quickly taking a look at the secret spread here, Nalguidan, which I believe is just a nice standard secret spread with the double dirty tricks and double plagiarize. Nalguidan's version of the deck is slightly different. I mentioned this Flick Skyship. One of the other differences is that he doesn't play the underbelly fences, instead plays Cult Neophyte. So you can tell that Nalguidan is trying to make his deck better against Mage, better against Priest, which maybe he expected a little bit more of, because those decks are not necessarily about tempo, but about what you do on the big powerful swing turns. And those cards help better against that, as opposed to Underbelly Fence, which is just for grabbing that early game tempo.
Well, he does have a way to deal with it, but he will have to activate that dirty tricks, unfortunately. It's okay, though. Evil Miscreant maybe gives him the lackeys to take this out cleanly instead of donating his health. And Nalguidan doesn't actually have minions right now in his hand. Picks up a couple. Ooh. Goblin Lackey. Nalguidan only has Cult Neophyte at this time. Has 2 Cult Neophytes. Interesting.
I mean, in this situation, I guess they wouldn't be active anyway, but Underbelly Fence would be quite appealing. I guess the Cult Neophytes aren't bad because they might shut down a counteroffensive, but by themselves, they're, you know, just a couple of Bloodfen Raptors if you're just playing a minion for minion tempo battle. Which honestly seems to be how this one is ending up. Just playing one, gonna play it a little slow. Nalguidan, as soon as he has more mana available to him, has the potential for some bigger swing turns with Secret Passage and access to Shadow Step. But has to give up a little bit of board for now. I mean, he's not too far behind, right? He's got a health lead.
Right.
There's only 5 mana available, so unless Jandis were to come out here, which we can see that's on the hand, Sand doesn't have too much good stuff to play. This actually makes it super awkward because he can't Dirty Tricks and Underbelly Fence in the same turn to really take control of the board. Has to play a weaker minion, the Kobold Lackey, in order to do it. I guess that ends up working out overall, though, because it would be a 3-1 instead of a 1-1. Now I could have Underbelly Fence to maybe try and fight back for tempo in the following turn. Wonder how long he's going to wait before he pulls the trigger on Secret Passage.
So many options.
Well, now that this secret's been put up, does he even want to take the Secret Passage?
That's true. You want to test into it first? See what we're working with here.
So many options.
And looks like he just wants to not give good plagiarize value. But that's that's okay, right? Saiyan's like okay if this game slows down a lot, because then you can just shuffle your Sarah Unleashed eventually.
Yeah, he's got to feel like he's the one that wins this this long, slow, more value-oriented game, because he does have the answers.
So many options.
Especially now with Blackjack Stunner. I mean, that just means he has an answer to something big as well.
Right. I think from Sane's perspective, the Cartridge Defender obviously looks like the best immediate tempo play, but he also has the Underbelly Fence and Cult Neophyte. And I think that like Sane's trying to very carefully narrow down what Nalguidan's showing, because Nalguidan has not been playing the left side of his hand almost the entire game so far, which means that if your opponent's like trying to wait for a good time and he's like doing awkward things by playing the right side of his hand and nothing else, is it a time to drop Cult Neophyte for disruption? The problem is that his hand is Courage Defender fills out the mana so nicely, and his play beyond Cult Neophyte was so lackluster that I think that you can't really justify that kind of disruption, even though Saiyan knows that it'd be a good turn to do it.
Yeah. I mean, if Cold Neophyte disrupts you just as much as it disrupts your opponent, is it worth it? Maybe if you're super far ahead, sure. But even though Saiyan, probably wins the long game battle here, I wouldn't consider him super far ahead at the moment. Well, I guess this passage was worth something. It's not the greatest one in the world, but he gets to spend all of his mana. He gets to acquire some value. He gets to develop the secret. Decent. Only problem is it's still not activating Vendetta. Still hasn't found another class card. Still hasn't found like a recurring value generator. Plagiarize Saiyan's fully healthy and has the wiggle room to play, completely safe in this plagiarize and once again shut off the potential resources from Nalguidan. We'll see how slow he does want to play it though. Got his own secret passage. He can pick apart the board with Underbelly Fence and just play a Cold Neophyte of his own. He can just play Underbelly Fence, clean up the board a little bit, dagger up, and then pass over. And I mean, that's just good enough. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
and Nalguidan's still going to be working with very limited resources once again.
Yeah. Really well done by Saiyan. And, these kinds of situations is honestly like why I think Plagiarize is one of my favorite cards from the expansion. Just because what it requires your opponent to do, not just from the value that you can gain, but there's also ways that you can make your opponent feel really bad for committing to that too. So it's one of the most interactive cards in Hearthstone, like that's ever been printed.
Yeah.
Which is really cool to see it kind of be in the situation of high-level play and players really hedging around it. Nalguidan starts off, really wants to hit a non-class card, finally does it.
There we go.
Dead is now active, and so is his Underbelly Fence.
Finally, this hand actually looks like it does something. Kind of crazy. In wrestle control of the board, still lacking for like the super meaningful cards, and I'm also looking for an opportunity for this flick to be good. But against Rogue, it feels like whatever you flick is going to hurt your deck just as much as it would hurt your opponent's, because a lot of times it's going to be used on like Edwin Van Cleave and Questing Adventure, which you also play in your deck. So, but this is a pretty intimidating board. It's also relatively sticky.
I never lie, but I never tell the truth.
Shao Juhanar finds Redemption, Spellbender, Snake Trap. Redemption's just cheap and helps him potentially fight back onto the board. Finds an opportunity for Pack Tactics.
Pack Tactics!
And it's such a difficult minion to deal with when there's Pack Tactics on the board, but Nalguidan does have his own way to deal with it. Saiyan probably thinking about the Blackjack Stunner here as well, and maybe even some merit to Shadow Stepping it. However,
Don't let the door hit you.
I am curious what limits of greed we can push with this Shadow Step. Saiyan's a 28 life. Rogue is not historically, throughout this little patch of Secret Rogue here, has not been really good at bursting. I was wondering if there's any merit to utilizing the greed of Ysera Unleashed to Shadow Step it and get even a further value, TJ. But that sounds
That is
like
a level
dream.
of greed that I'm not sure if I'm even willing to explore.
Right. It's October already, TJ, which means for people who do celebrate end of the year holidays, whatever holiday you celebrate, is there a Scrooge equivalent to greed? And that would be shadow stepping your Sarah Unleashed. Too much for TJ, he says.
That's like borderline evil. It's like rubbing it in his face. Look at me. I just spent 9 mana doing nothing. No impact on the board whatsoever. It's like rubbing it in your opponent's face. All right. Shot the flick. He gets rid of his own. This is what I was talking about. It hurts his own deck, but I think he's okay with this because it gets in tempo. And he's running out of secrets anyway. I don't know. I'm trying to justify how to feel better about destroying my own Shadow Jeweler Nar.
Right. Well, now you can just Sarah Unleashed and Blackjack Stunner. Does he want a Blackjack Stunner or anything, though? Like, the only thing that you kind of feel good about doing that to is Mermy, and, you know, it's a 1-drop, and also it's Mermy. Leave it alone, man.
Leave Mermy alone.
It's got enough problems just existing. Nalguidan sees it's Ysera. How do you react?
I think this just like puts a clock on him, right? Like he's got to make as big of turns as he can. I mean, Dan, why shadow step it when your opponent's gonna shadow step it for you?
Your presence offends me.
Nah, this is meaningful tempo. Saiyan can't really greed here. Looks like he got that Shadow Step dream I was talking about, but requires a little bit extra. Now Saiyan, his secrets pop, so now Nalguidan going all in.
And if you secret passage portals, they don't cast. I've actually never seen it in action, but I assume the way that soul fragments, bombs, etc. work, that they're just in your hand. And they don't actually cast.
So many options.
I mean, he has to sap some of this stuff because he can't take too much damage here, but he's really bogged down by the secret from Nalguidan.
Yep. He doesn't, and everything he does just gets passed right back, so he doesn't want to just pass all this eruption back and then just have it replayed in his face.
Don't let the door hit you.
But it's not like a true pass, though, is it? Because he does have dragons, so stalling is actually meaningful, even if it's not super good.
Well, using Blackjack Stunner on a flick also means, plus giving him Secret +2 Blackjack Stunners means that you draw those dragons, he tempos them back, he does the same thing. So maybe not, after all.
Sure.
That's such a tough situation. Like, it's hard to think that deep while also making sure you're thinking in the now. Want to see what's inside this Wand Thief, I think.
Your presence offends me.
One Thief finds Frost Nova, Learn Draconic, Acanthus Flow. Not really super high impact cards right now. Frost Nova is nice for dragons, maybe? Now
Yeah, those portals are there.
Passes it back. Saiyan has no portals. Looking for something off this Wand Thief to potentially change his luck around. Evocation.
Okay. Does he want one more mage spell, or does he want to just go for it and have the extra mana? That is
Deep
Flame Ward,
Freeze.
Deep Freeze, Vaporize.
That's really big.
Flame Ward is
Oh, Flame Ward's also really big too.
awesome.
Yeah, because now he can play Van Cleef. He played it before he played his Learn Draconic, so I don't think we admit that mistake. I think we instead play Primordial Studies,
Too soon.
Edwin, and then Secret Passage to keep
Yeah.
the cards. Oh!
Yeah, you definitely don't want to float a mana, but you also definitely don't want to show
Yes.
that you missed Secrets
Not
that
admit
Learn
your
Draconic.
mistake.
Wait, no. This was deliberate, Dan. He deliberately is going to play
Ah.
the Learn Draconic last because he wants more board space for potential portals.
Oh, wait. This Vaporize is actually kind of genius. Because Saiyan knows that usually with Flame Ward, you want to attack with your highest attack minion first, so that way you could get the maximum damage. But because he played Vaporize, he's going to attack with the Ancestral Guardian first, and then that dies. Oh, fun
It's a
interaction.
win-win.
So Nalguidan sees nothing, really.
Yeah. He just is pretty sure that if he spent the mana on those secrets and evocation, that they have some type of impact on this board. So he's just going to trade down and...
Too soon.
Yeah, it would have to have impact, particularly because he saw Saiyan ditch 1 mana spells, which would be a lot cheaper for him to play some of these really powerful combos. Whoa! Earth Elemental. Oh, wow. That is a big boy.
Yes, it is. Second Earth Elemental we've seen today from Jandis. We've seen so many Jandises today, though, that I'm pretty sure we've seen most of the 5 drops.
Okay.
That's a Deathwing.
Dragon's Horde. Yeah, it's a Deathwing. Dragon's Horde into the Natalie Celine or something. Saiyan wants to maybe just go for Questing Adventure and Secret Passage. Not, I mean, he has a lot of Dream Portals in his deck. I'm kind of worried about this, but maybe he doesn't feel like there's another way. Okay, Underbelly Fence, another Secret Passage, but those Dream Portals are, there's a lot of them.
Yeah, and they're all dead because they cost 9 mana to use.
Worth to you. Too soon.
All right, what's in the box?
Oh, Vendetta!
Give me a quest.
Vendetta works.
Oh, and he could Shadow Step Blackjack Center back. Wow, he just dismantled that whole board.
Wow.
Pretty much. As long as he got it off.
Clutch moves from Saiyan. He got the trade. I don't know if he got the dagger swing, though. He did not. And now, all of a sudden, the board is completely reversed. Now Nalguidan had everything all tied up, but he does have one thing. He's got a Frost Nova.
Yeah.
And he's been avoiding playing spells for so long. So I think he's going to try to test for the counterspell first. And he's not super worried about stuff like in the end because he has so many ways to remove things or freeze them. Wow, what a turn from Saiyan.
Yeah. Oh, Sandstone needs more time, and he's got much less life to work with. There's the Flame Ward.
Saiyan knows about the 2 blackjack centers, right? That's going to render the Deathwing
Yep.
completely useless.
Yep.
But the draws
he
are big. If he gets Dream Portals, doesn't find a Dream Portal.
Wow. 6 Dream Portals left in deck, so half of his deck right now is Dream Portals.
Oh, wait. He's got to go quick. Nalguidan has to move fast, otherwise he might rogue. Okay. Gets the flick.
Yep, gets the Blackjack Center, full mana utilization. Did he dagger hit? Yep. It's important to dagger hit each and every turn because that puts Saiyan on a natural clock. Still no portal drawn. 6 out of the 11 cards are portals. And even though there's another Blackjack Center, like at this point you need to get those out because you need one of these dragons that you're going to pull to be impactful.
Oh, Khadgar plus Jandis.
Oh!
Oh.
Wait, I think that was... Yeah, I think that was the play. Actually, it's the most
If he ends up
optimistic play,
playing Jandis,
right?
then yeah. Because he looks like he needs to.
Choose soon.
What makes something real?
No.
Missed opportunities. Missed the Chadgar.
Yeah, that's going to do it. Nalguidan able to take a pivotal Rogue Mirror in game number 3. And that's going to do it. One more game for Nalguidan to secure his spot for Grandmasters next year. And Saiyan's down to his last life for this series. And does have the mage left to beat. Beating mage twice is going to be hard, but I mean, if there's a class that can do it, it's mage. Rogue, a little bit less consistent, as you can see. It does seem like Rogue has 2 sides of it right now. We're seeing both of it within even the same game. Like some games, it's like, wow, Ysera Unleashed. Like, how do I ever lose with all this support? It's like, well, if you never draw your portals, I mean, your random win condition generations doesn't actually mean anything.
Yeah. I don't think any of the other legendaries in that spot would have helped either, though, to be fair. So I like where his head was at and trying to stop for that game plan, but Ysera Unleashed is unreliable for that very reason, right? Pretty unlucky for him to not draw any portals at the end there. But Nalguidan still had a few answers left, so it's not like he was out of the woods if he says, oh yeah, 2 portals off the top, big dragons. It wasn't for sure, but yeah, Rogue super volatile in those types of situations. Now Nalguidan, 1 game away, just needs to win with Mage. 2 chances to do it. This is a big one. Loser of this match faces Rami with the final relegation match, which I believe actually happens at the beginning of the day tomorrow, since we're going to end with the championship match, the seasonal championship match. You don't want to be in that spot, because even though all these players that are in this relegation bracket are high up in earnings, in fact, I mentioned it yesterday, every single player that started in the relegation bracket, justsaiyan, Bloodyface, Nalguidan, and Rami, all are above every non-GM currently in Master Tour earnings.
Watch your...
So that's kind of that buffer they've created for themselves, but it's not a guarantee because there's still the Master Tour Madrid. If players that already have earnings make it to top 4, multiple players that already have earnings make it to top 4, there is a small chance that they get pushed out. And you don't want to find yourself in that situation. So winning these matches is a big deal.
All right, well, we'll see if either of these players are going to need that in order to pull themselves out, because one of them will continue to play on tomorrow. And right now, statistically, it looks like Saiyan is the one who's likely to do that. But, we still have a little bit more to play here. It's going to game number 4. Saiyan starts off with the coin and the evil miscreant, an opportunity there. Nalguidan has the lab partner Wanmaker Firebrand. That's a very nice 1, 2, 3. Uno, dos, tres.
Solid curve. Especially with the cram session. An even solider curve.
I like it. Well, I mean, this might change it a little bit. Cram session, you don't always get to draw 2 for 2. And Wallmaker is just going to kind of do its thing no matter what turn you play it on. I like it. Sand has the Wand Thief. Pull, okay. Ray of Frost is generally the most powerful tempo tool here, but I'm kind of thinking about if there's a situation that Power of Creation might somehow be better.
With this hand, just feels like you want cheaper options.
Choose soon.
But Power of Creation is like that once and for all kind of follow-up that you need, kind of that even matchup, but I don't want to bank on expensive cards if I can help it.
You don't pick the one, silly.
Yeah, agreed. I personally don't want to bank on that either. Certainly a less than ideal situation, but we'll see. Nalguidan just ends up freezing a little bit of that board, just tossing in one ray just to make sure to prevent that damage or any value trades. Now Sand has an opportunity for this questing adventurer. And using the underbelly fence.
With that Ray of
Clever.
Frost, it seems like Nalguidan wants to protect the body of that wand maker in some capacity. So going for a play like this gives the questing adventurer a wide range of protection against pretty much anything Nalguidan could do. Firebrand plus Arcane Breath. Nalguidan was probably hoping that that was the ultimate answer to this board, being able to answer 6 health. If that wand maker had survived, he would have had the exact full clear. But looks like he just has to part ways with these Rays of Frost and go with the Arcane Breath to get the guaranteed clear before this questing adventure is out of range of anything possible. Kind of stinks to have to use all these cheap spells because now he has no activation for Firebrand. He has nothing for Mana Cyclone. But that's the power of this early tempo, is that you kind of force these inefficient plays out of the mage. I think Saiyan's off to a good start. Dragon Sword's good pickup because that gives him an activation for Evil Miscreant. I kind of want to just have that on board and get the mana expenditure and the combo expenditure out of the way before I play Dirty Tricks. Because Nalguidan just used all of his cheap spells. He dumped a lot. I don't know if Plagiarize is going to get that much value going into turn 5. Kind of same with Dirty Tricks. If he plays a 5-drop, whether it's Raz or Jandis, you're not getting value off those cards and you'd rather have board.
Yeah, it's true.
It's tough though, right? Because
Yeah.
I just think that okay.
I think this makes sense. I think Disruption against the mage is really powerful, and his hand, like Saiyan's hand, isn't strong by playing a 1/4. So, and he also lacks a good turn 5. I think the more I think about this play, the more it makes sense to me. Finds a Mana Giant, which is full cost, 1 cost less. But very clever by Nalguidan to recognize that situation and how it's not going to be very useful for Saiyan.
Yep. But it's going to get cheap quite quickly here. Because even though it's only been the coin thus far that he's played that's outside of his deck, both these Rays of Frost, the Lackeys, all started outside of his deck. Well, the game really telling, just saying that he probably needs some card draw. Cutting Class and Sprint being offered. Picks Bamboozle instead. Bamboozle can be a bit awkward. It is the secret that players tend to like check for last or think about last because it's not actually played that often in the top tier rogue decks.
Yeah, I rarely check for Bamboozle in the beginning, but you totally can. Either way, Nalguidan has to figure out how he wants to spend this turn because he could also just play another giant, put himself in a situation where he has maximum board presence. He knows that Saiyan does not play a Flick Sky Shiv like he does.
All right, he's going for it.
Yeah. Maybe just gets too much tempo for Saiyan to answer here.
Gets his own man giant down though, so he's got something to fight back, and this is a little bit awkward for Nalguidan to fight into. And is a Bamboozle. So, see, you never think about Bamboozle.
You don't
never think about it
at all.
I mean, there's a chance that he could get rewarded for it, like if it's like Big Bad Archmage or something like that. He's hoping for something big.
Caligos.
That
He was really hoping just for a big 10 drop.
Is when you'd
it's not
love
every
to
day.
see Colossus of the Moon.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's not every day you hope for Colossus of the Moon. Yeah, I actually haven't seen Saiyan this emotionally invested in quite some time.
Oh, he hit the Condor's calling off the
Condra's
invocation.
calling.
Oh my
The
gosh.
sickest.
Well, that's a bad outcome.
Oh god, how bad is devolving misses on this board? It's pretty awful. Can't afford to do that. Nothing cleared. Wow, disastrous outcomes for Nalguidan. I guess he's happy about the Caligos not just straight up killing him, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
He's got evocation and the Condor calling from evocation, so basically spent the rest of his turn to put like a little bit more power on the board and pretty much just as much health. Lord Barav!
He doesn't need it though right now. He picked that so fast. I actually didn't even really get to see what the other choices were. But yeah, Saiyan's got the clear. And this way he can actually hold on to Vendetta. Okay.
Alright, but this is a lot of his resources. Almost all of his resources. Does have the secrets to kind of back this up, but also the Barav is threatening the rest of his board.
Very much a liability. Nalguidan has the Raz, so he could just play Raz and Hero Power the Lord Barav.
True mastery takes dedication.
Yeah, it's a lot of power being taken off the board here.
Yep.
Saiyan finds Pharaoh Cat. If he can activate that Vendetta, he's in business. Does not, but Ramp Golem is still pretty sizable. It's kind of annoying because Ras, while it can deal with the 1/1 Scarabs, it doesn't want to attack into a Scarab. So this kind of dynamic is pretty annoying for Nalguidan.
Okay. Can look for something with primordial studies here. Ashemancer Solarian. Dirty tricks. And that was inevitable. Was bound to be popped at some point. Ooh. Yeah, I think I'm just taking cards from my deck. Elemental Allies was interesting because of the Mana Cyclone, but Arcane Intellect is exactly that, except you also have a chance to draw minions, which Source's Apprentice is a big one. Just need to find some spells to go along. Oh, man. All expensive, but all very impactful in their own ways.
Yes.
Rolling Fireball seems to be the best in this scenario. Just because it can help, and he has a little bit of a board lead here and can help and solidify that if Saiyan tries to get back on with minions.
He's got 2 great cards to do that. Oh, what? TJ.
Nice.
TJ, he didn't pick the puzzle box.
Nice.
How much is this worth to you?
Too much respect for competition, if you ask me.
Damn,
I puzzle box
can't-
my opponent not because I even think it's the right pick sometimes, but because what it does to their mental. It shreds it.
He's going into turn 10, Dan.
I know.
He's
such a
behind
missed
on
opportunity,
resources.
TJ.
And the board is like even, right?
Too soon.
I can't get on board with this.
He's ahead on board, actually, now.
Yeah, but I still just don't want to be accomplice to this complete lack of respect for the puzzle box.
Yeah, the disrespect shown by Saiyan. Surely he needs to be humbled.
Yeah, and there's only one way for that to happen, and that's for Nalguidan to somehow get his own puzzle box
Yeah.
and play it to assert dominance.
Frankly, Saiyan has done this to himself.
Yeah.
You fight me, you get burned.
Firebrand. Hitting the board. Rolling Fireball should clean everything up. At least Saiyan gets to draw cards, though.
Turn it up.
So far, Nalguidan is still hanging in there, trying to temper the aggression coming out from Saiyan.
He's still holding on.
Saiyan has to think about what's the best way to set up the power here. And the answer is it doesn't matter what you do because your opponent has devolving missiles.
Yep.
But in his mind, if the devolving missiles doesn't exist,
A place to hide.
what do you do? And also, Wasting Assassin isn't the worst thing to get devolving missiled.
Yeah, because you're still getting, still 4-drop, right? If it gets hit once, it's just not quite as valuable. Even Evil Miscreant, because sometimes that can increase in power if it goes down to 2.
Right.
Soon.
Alrighty. Question: do you want to play the elemental allies before? I totally get the value of proccing the 5 to get the extra 5/5. But Magic Trick is 2 spells. Elemental allies is 3. Devolving missiles is 4.
Yeah.
And unless you're playing a Conjurer's Calling, I don't know.
I think
worth
he is probably
trying
playing a
to
Conjurer's
invest
Calling
into it.
as well.
Right. Combustion! Saiyan was not positioning around that.
No. Nobody plays around combustion these days. Yeah, I can go combustion, hit, then devolving missiles?
Place to hide.
Does he even need to devolving missiles? He does if he wants to Conjurer's Call into 5, yeah. So this ended up working out really well. This will get knocked down. Scrap Pound. Man, brings me back to last year's Bomb Warrior Fiesta of Grandmasters. Vicious Scrap Pound was sick back then.
Yeah.
Now it's pretty mediocre.
Aw,
Yeah.
I miss Ziliax.
From nothing,
Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't.
Ooh, that's a lot of armor you can gain. I wonder if he thinks Clever Disguise is just better. What? Daring Escape.
He's re-upping here. And I need another spell. I don't like these. I'm gonna go for another one. Mana is becoming an issue, though, I feel.
Dirty
Waxman
tricks
Sea.
with the secret.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, but Waxman Sea can be anything.
Could even be Shadow Jewel Hanar.
In some roundabout way, yeah, probably.
Too soon.
Yeah, I guess Flame Ward is the best for fighting back on board. It's just can't play it this turn. Blackjack started the Shattered Rumbler. I mean, it's the most power, but it also just is active because he played a spell last turn.
Yeah, now you actually get that battle cry. I think I would have been okay with the Pharaoh going back, but I guess maybe no. Saiyan wants to damage to all other minions though, because he has Flame Ward.
Ah, yes, okay.
Clever.
Get down!
Nalguidan thanked him. Might be a little bit premature to thank him for that. Unless, of course, he is just simply showcasing his gratitude.
His gratitude for a well-fought match. Back and forth. I mean, Saiyan shook his head.
But it does activate elemental allies.
Oh, it's an elemental! That's even worse! That's why he said thank you!
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. I was so busy focused on the battle cry that I forgot
Yeah,
about
the elemental allies that was used last turn for the Shinvala. Oh my goodness,
jeez.
that is disastrous.
Oh, jeez.
I felt like that was
missed it,
Saiyan's
too.
chance to come back into the game because Nalguidan was completely out of stuff, but now he's got Sorcerer's Apprentice with reload.
Oh, no.
And Saiyan, you know, that's a tough one. That's hard though. I mean, I missed that too. Like,
it's not an interaction you commonly think about, but yet somehow always regularly makes its way into this matchup, right?
yeah.
Oh, almost the Giganuts. I think it's Van Cleave here.
The Brotherhood shall prevail.
There's not many cards left in the deck from the Secret Passage at this point. He's just using it to simply buff. Ooh. Could backstab his Van Cleave before he Shadow Steps it, but I guess he doesn't mind just having it at this point. Wow!
I mean,
Somehow
that
this turn
is a unit. Yeah, I don't know why he didn't do it.
Yeah, I think Saiyan's a little tilted at himself right now. Just like, kind of just look at his face. He realized that had he not given the card draw, Nalguidan might not have a response. He now does through Conjurer's Calling.
Yep.
Oh, jeez. And all of the wheels are falling off. And now the carriage is turning into a pumpkin, TJ.
This is pretty brutal. Nalguidan can exhaust other options first to see if he can find like a more efficient answer.
Brain freeze helps.
Sure.
Yeah, devolving missiles would have just been absolutely insane. So I agree with it.
You don't pick the one.
Still looking for something? Wait. Nalguidan's not using Conjurer's Calling here.
He can still do it. I mean, he could spend all of this mana, right? Like,
right.
I think the biggest thing is he wants to
looking for
Conjurer's Calling first.
Yeah, he was looking for the opportunity for Mana Cyclone, I think, to see if he had the opportunity to, at the very end, gain more spells. Wait, what? Oh, alright. Saiyan going for the Dragon's Horde. Any card that could potentially help him here? Oh, he's going to activate the Spell Burst first. Maybe just wipe.
Dr.
Final
Boom
wipe does
scheme!
not.
Oh,
Rom.
oh, if only he had the
Yeah.
Madame Lazul in hand at the beginning of the turn.
Oh, yeah. If only he played Dragon's Horde first.
He still wouldn't have had enough mana to be able to Solarium
So
Prime.
many options.
Yeah, you're right. Because the Dragon's Horde does cost 1.
Yeah, it's just by if by
Wait.
some mirror.
No.
What?
I was thinking Madame Lazul gets the Conjurer's Calling to get a Doomsayer, but it looks like this is the end of the road.
Choose soon.
He's not dead yet. Actually, this Grom does give him some range.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not dead yet.
Solarium
And-
Prime.
In what world does this Solarium Prime not kill him, huh? Yeah, I'm just kidding. This is actually really scary. Because if it doesn't touch the Edwin, you die.
Right. So I think you should Magic Trick first, right?
Maybe he can Magic
for
Trick
it?
after trying to find Ray of Frost. He's confident. This just gets there.
What? No, that's not what
Oh,
you want,
yeah.
actually.
Oh,
It's all
yeah.
chaos.
See?
Okay.
Just say it didn't pick the puzzle box. It all comes back to that.
Wait.
Deep freeze on the Edwin. Nice.
Oh. And Nalguidan's getting anti-fatigue measures by shuffling so many cards into his deck. He kills off the Edwin. And all he has to do is just to not let his board die here at any point.
Another one!
puzzle box!
No! What is happening?
What?
Saiyan has upset something within Hearthstone by not picking the puzzle box. There's still another main spell packed into here. Maybe even 2 more?
There's just a whole lot of nonsense happening here, TJ.
Hand is too full.
Nalguidan couldn't even finish his turn. Another deep freeze. All right.
Oh, please! He gets to do it right back! Oh my gosh! Let's go! Yeah, what time is it?
It's prime time, baby. It's time to prime.
Don't let the door hit you.
Sand. One last chance.
Puzzle box.
Frost knows a
Nova.
good start.
Potion! He gets to do it again!
Ray of Frosts. One more time, but now we're starting to get into very dangerous territory if Saiyan draws like a single card. Also worth noting that Nalguidan didn't get to have the opportunity to see all the cards that he wanted to play before he could play stuff. He had a Malygos in the hand. He plays Arcane Missiles. Brain Freeze. Arcane Missiles.
A puzzle box! No way!
I'm out
No
of
way!
Make something new.
There's a minion!
No
Jandis is gone!
way!
He shuffled a Silverhand Raccoon in his deck! Aw. I was kind of expecting another Solarium Prime. There's only damaged minions.
Oh!
Wow!
Oh!
Don't let the door hit you.
Ah! I don't know what's happening anymore.
Polymorph!
Wait, a minion can attack, TJ. A minion can attack.
But
Wait,
what does
there's
it mean?
taunts. There's taunts. I was about to say, maybe he could get damage in, but there's a taunted minion because of germination.
A germinated blackjack stunner that has a divine shield from righteousness.
Oh my gosh. Oh, wait.
What?
Evocation. Oh no, there's no hand space.
It's like no hand space whatsoever.
Yeah,
you can dump
wait,
a bunch
wait.
of cheap stuff.
Was it Malygos Arcane Missile? There's no way. That
There's
sounds
too much
bad.
health on board.
Lifesteal to gain some, because you need to not die here.
What's the secret?
From Saiyan?
Yeah.
I think it's dirty tricks. Oh no! Oh, did it
No,
plagiarize?
it's ambush.
If it's
All right, ambush,
plagiarized, did he
It's ambush.
just give lifesteal to Saiyan?
No,
that
it's
was
ambush.
his third card.
It's ambush.
Oh, it's ambush? Yeah. Got it. If it was plagiarized, TJ, then what did Nalguidan just do?
Yeah, I know. You just gotta hope it's not, right? Like, that's it.
I'm out of cards.
Wow. 7 plus 3 plus 3 is 13, 14, 15, 16. Oh no, never surrender.
Oh my gosh.
Oh wait, I forgot to spell
Apar
damage
producers
as
point
well.
out to us that he could have blackjack started his own Solarian Prime.
Oh
that turn.
yeah.
That's probably the play, right? It's Ice Barrier.
No. He does that next turn. Because right now, he trades down.
He can't. Oh yeah, he can. With the
He trades
Razor
down,
Frost.
plays Bamboozle, Blackjack Stunner, so you guarantee you have the Solarian Prime next turn.
yeah.
Don't let the door hit you.
No.
I have so many questions. Sand is all in.
He's at 1. Now he needs to do 1 damage to him. He's going to take 2 fatigue plus a ping. He needs a single point of damage. Now he's on cards left. He's got 2 shadows and then a violet spell wing. And this. 2 shadows of water elementals. What? Is he dead?
The thing
is he
is,
dead?
Sand doesn't even have like a guarantee way to win next turn. He doesn't even have 2-turn lethal.
What to do? What to do?
Yeah, he does.
He has 7.
Oh no,
13,
he's 1 off.
16, 19, 22. Oh, if Arcane Missiles goes face,
It has to
or
go
if he
face
has
for
ground?
once.
No, okay,
Yeah, it
hold
has
on.
to go face-
7,
Let's make something new.
10, 11, 12, 13. Plus the deadly
wait,
poison,
ambush.
16.
The ambush
Oh,
token.
wait. Yeah.
Oh, but there's a rusher. The best arm.
No.
Right into my trap.
He's not expecting the Grom, though. He's not accounting for that.
Oh, Nalguidan wants a win right now. Oh, another rusher. Oasis Surger.
And it transforms.
Bamboozle!
It survives!
It survives so big.
5, 7,
He got the attacks off.
13,
right? He's
16,
1 off.
19.
Arcane Missiles needs to go face for 1.
I think Arcane Missiles has to hit for 1.
It has to hit face for 1. Oh my gosh! They hit face for 1! No! He's 1 damage off! Right? Did we count it wrong? 5, 6, 9, 10, plus 13, 23. He's 1 damage off!
Oh no! What a close nail biter
what's crazy,
end of the series.
There's 2 shadows left in the deck. Now he only had 1 real card left in the deck. He was 1 damage off lethal as well as 1 more card draw off lethal, 1 turn off lethal. Because there's only 1 card left in the deck, which was Violet Spellwing. So if there was 1 less card in the deck, because the last 2 were shadows, that would have cast when drawn that extra point of fatigue. He needed 1 missile to go face. Oh my gosh, what a game! But that's a heartbreaker, being that close.
It was quite a game back and forth. There's a lot to say about what we just watched. One, the puzzle box Solarium Prime dynamic is just hilarious and also just chaotic. There's just so much going on. Not even sure what to say about that. Maybe it speaks for itself. The second thing is that that shouldn't even have had happened because Saiyan threw that opportunity away by giving Nalguidan opportunities to get outs and present himself in that way, right? Nalguidan was completely gassed, and Saiyan didn't have to put himself in that situation. You could see how frustrated he was with himself with that kind of play by giving him the elemental allies. And so a lot of questions, but at the end, the answer is this. Nalguidan stays in Grandmasters. Justsaiyan is in the final relegation match for tomorrow. And after tomorrow night, a little bit less than 24 hours from now, because we have less matches for tomorrow, we're going to find out if Saiyan gets to stay in Grandmasters or will Rami. And I have to say, if I'm Rami, I have to feel like my chances just improved. Looking at Saiyan's mental state after that, did not seem like he was really satisfied. And, you got to be able to turn that into your advantage if you're in Rami's spot.
Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine how Rami's feeling right now either because, this is like ice in the kicker. I mean,